the secrets behind the amazing Dead Sea Scrolls. In the rarest of the Dead Sea Scrolls, exhibited for the first time in Israel, there is an originality that excites the world research community. The account of the flood is given by the patriarch of the Jews himself, Noah. For nearly 7 decades, the Dead Sea Scrolls have been an unsolved puzzle that has puzzled researchers of all faiths. Their accidental discovery in 1947, a year before the establishment of the official Israeli state near Khirbet Qumran, fired the collective imagination because of the references in biblical texts. And since then, they've become the source of quite a few conspiracy theories about the truths they reveal about the Old Testament history. Of the manuscripts, the one that carries the greatest mystery is the apocryphal Genesis of the Book of Jubilees, as its study was only allowed to specialist researchers due to the fragile state of the inscriptions. As of recently, however, the general public has the opportunity to see this particular manuscript up close for the first time, thanks to the exhibition Genesis Retold, hosted at the Israel Museum in Jerusalem on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the discovery of the 7 papyri. The apocryphal manuscript, which for the official doctrine means pseudo-inscription, comes out of the special room with specific heating conditions where it's kept and is revealed to everyone. The parchment dates to the 1st century BC and written in Aramaic, reproduces chapters 5 to 15 of the first book of the Holy Bible, Genesis. It is essentially a piece of the Old Testament that refers to Noah and Abraham, obviously differing from the original in terms of narration. It's undoubtedly a very old copy of the original text. The pieces of writing were done with a lot of dedication, without mistakes, and this is in particular area. A particular area was only possible if someone had the document in front of them to copy it, says Adolf Reutemann, curator of the exhibition in the newspaper El País. The manuscript presented in the museum refers to the sacrifices that Noah made after the flood to appease his God, unlike the Genesis of the Pentateuch, which tells that Noah came out of the ark in Ararat with his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and the first thing he did was build an altar for sacrifice. The apocryphal manuscript records that Noah sacrificed inside the ark. These passages, in fact, are not written in the third person, but in the first person, as if Noah himself was narrating the events. Historically, that would make sense because we're talking about an earth-shattering catastrophe, and the surface would be made to ensure peace abroad, Reutemann points out. And the maintenance team? The poor condition of the manuscript has long been a headache for its maintenance team, and for this reason it could not be digitized and transferred to the museum's online collection. Compared to the other 7 manuscripts found in the same cave, this is the most fragile, a result of the composition of the special ink used when writing its texts. It consists of an alloy of carbon and resins like the ink of the other papyri, but in the apocryphal Genesis it also contains copper, which makes it extremely sensitive to light, notes Professor James Bieberkraut, who was Israel's first expert on who was charged with the maintenance of these specific relics. Of the 22 columns that make up the document, the best preserved are the last 18 to 22. These are the specific verses that were fleetingly displayed in 1955 in Jerusalem, when then Prime Minister Moshe Sharet announced that the Israeli state had purchased the other 4 lost papyri that were missing from a total of 7 that had been identified on the shores of the Dead Sea. In order for the exhibition managers to be able to bring the archives in front of the public, they created a specially sealed construction which allows, through a microchip, to control the manuscript's exposure to temperature and humidity. The papyrus is not directly illuminated. An innovative smart glass allows the opaque glass of its showcase to be transformed into transparent for just 30 seconds at a time. Thus, visitors can observe the pieces, reducing the exposure to light by 50% to ensure that the ink and paper are not further damaged. Alongside the exhibition of the apocryphal Genesis, the museum hosts a temporary exhibition entitled The Faces Behind the Papyri. Its purpose is to tell the story of the discovery of these important texts. Also, it introduces the men and women, Bedouins, Christians, Muslims, and Jews who played a fundamental role in the recognition of the historical and spiritual value of these Dead Sea Scrolls. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.